Hi there, VC. Steve Whitty here. Sunday morning, as Richard McCook would say, it's time for another video. First off, excuse me, I've got a bit of a cold coming on. So if I may start sniffling or coughing or sneezing, that's what what it is. I'm not very good at editing these things out. The reason for this video, last week I did my vinyl tag video, and there were a couple of things I showed. I showed Rush's exit, sorry, not exit stage. Well, I showed Rush's exit stage left and a show of hands and explained the story behind what happened with that gig. Also, when asked what favourite drummer was, without hesitation, I went Neil Peart. As you all know, Friday the news broke that he sadly passed away after a long but private battle with brain cancer. And to me, this was felt like an absolute kick in the gut. And the reason, and I posted it on Facebook, I posted a couple of albums, was Rush was simply my favourite band. They were the band that I sort of latched onto when I first started buying music, to be quite honest, and really took music seriously. And I think the reason was, I think they sort of spoke to me, particularly Neil Peart's lyrics. They were a bit different to your average rock band of that ilk. A lot of the bands were, but excuse me, talking about chasing girls and or that and cars and whatever. And Rush didn't, and that what appealed to me. So this, in a way, video is probably an appreciation on what Rush meant to me. As I say, 1980 really when I started buying music seriously, and let me see if I can get. I'll show this again. I showed it last week. First Rush album I brought, not this copy, but it was another copy. It was Exit Stage Left. I saw them the first time on that tour. Went to Stafford Bingley Hall, which I've probably explained in previous videos, was a carriage shed in the middle of nowhere. Stafford probably the nearest point of it of existence, I think, a better phrase, and it was a great concert. Memorable because I had to get my dad to pick me up from Stafford railway station, which is about 50 miles away. He weren't best impressed. I'd missed my last train. What struck me, I think the highlight for me was Neil Peart's drum solo, and I couldn't stop talking to my dad about it on the way home. You know how brilliant it was. It stirred up a lot, and then when I started buying. Earning money. I was buying mainly the cassettes. A lot of these records have come out after I started buying records again. And I think what Neil Peart, I mean, he said what he contribution wasn't about it was the drumming, amazing drummer, probably, as I said, my favourite. But he turned a band. Now this is their debut album, where straight ahead meat potatoes rock into something totally different. So by the time he comes on and he adds his contribution to Fly By Night to something totally different, obviously science, lot of Lord of the Rings type things at that time, which was the vogue, well read heavily. But it allowed the band to grow. I feel it allowed the band to grow musically, listening. And yes, this was a bit of a this album stiffed, and it caused a lot of problems with the for the band. It didn't sell. Caress of Steel, they weren't afraid to try and expand on it. But I suppose one album that really grabbed me, and I'd heard everybody at school talk about it, was 2112, And I remember hearing that title track for the first time and just think, wow, wow. And that's all I could think. Wow, lying on my bed. That's what I did as a teenager. I lied on my bed, put tape on, and just let the music waft over me, and it was just taken there. Just absolutely brilliant. And you going through this period of the albums up to there. All the World's a Stage, which was recorded in Toronto, a very triumphant homecoming for them. 2112 broke them, and I think it sort of justified where they were going. Excuse me, I'm going to need to. It's better. In the UK, I don't know about the rest of the world, on the back of 2112 being successful, the first 3 albums were repackaged as Archive. There you go. And by the time they recorded Farewell to Kings, they recorded that in Rockfield in Wales. They were, and this showed why I liked them, because they weren't afraid to go in a different direction. Adding synths into here, trying to expand their sound, which is quite easy once you get success to stay in the same groove. You think you think I'll write the same thing, it'll sell again. It doesn't necessarily mean for me a band to grow is that you need to expand, not be afraid to push back boundaries. The successful bands in the world, the bands that stay the longest, tend to do that. It's Hemispheres, 78. I thought listening to this, I think yes, this sounds like a band that's sort of got themselves into a bit of a rut. Music world was changing. They were still writing 17 songs that lasted the West Side, and that's what the world wasn't on about. And from reading all about the story about that, recording that album, it was a difficult period for the band. Spirit of Radio, of Permanent Way, Spirit of Radio. The big hit single in the UK, top 20, I think, got to number 11. Absolutely wonderful album. I was listening to this in the shop yesterday. Pete said, "Well, which album we should?" I've got a copy of Permanent Ways. I'll put that on as a bit of a tribute. We listened to that in the shop. Wonderful album. I mean, I played it on New Year's Day as well. I suppose the album that sold it to everybody, Moving Pictures, which Tom Sawyer, it's on this tour, Exit Stage Left came from. That's where I saw the band at Stafford. Absolutely wonderful. This is a reissue, copy. But I also remember when I saw them live, first time I brought this, the 12-inch of Tom Sawyer, which again was a top 30 hit single for him, which had also Red Barachetta and Passage to the Bangkok. But like all good bands, they wanted to change. They were outside influences. Neil Peart quite openly like listening to the Police. I think they mentioned that they were listening to Boomtown Rats, a bit of the new wave that was going on, and they wanted to incorporate the sound, particularly the synths, because that's where it was going in the 80s. Let's not be about that. And the Signals, I remember hearing the opening bit for Subdivisions on Signals, and I'm thinking, whoa, taken back. But I was playing it to somebody who didn't like rock, but heard that and thought, that's good. So in a way, it boundaries. And I saw him on this tour at the NEC, and it's an album. Yeah, it was an album I had to listen to a few times for it to grow, but an enjoyable album all the same. So, and then they followed it up with Grace Under Pressure, which sort of followed it on again. And and the lyrics had started to change. In fact, let me go back to Signals, because I mentioned Subdivisions, and probably that track more than anything, sort of why I liked Rush. Talking about the outsider looking in, the non-cool kid. You see the video, it's the non-cool kid who's outside. He doesn't get the girls, he doesn't hang around with the jocks and the cool kids. He's on the outside looking in. I was that kid at school. And I'm sure there was a lot of people like that wanted to be in that inner circle, that couldn't, wasn't there, weren't allowed to. You just didn't look right. You weren't, if I got into a fight, I'd probably end up losing. So it was one of those. Anyway, Grace Under Pressure. As I said, 84. Again, more extension. The keyboards came up to the fore. Guitars weren't as heavy as they were, but there's some great tracks on here. Distant Early Warning, Red Sector A. It kept going. Then 85, they came out with Power Windows, which was big money on their Marathon. In a way, the criticism is that the keyboards were starting to take over a little bit. Maybe to the detriment of the guitars. And I wouldn't say they were starting to lose me, but I'd hold your fire. Again, it's only very much sort of like your typical 80s rock. Good all the same, and in different Rush albums, better than most of the stuff that came out in the 80s. And there's still that difference. And obviously I showed you this last week and told you that I was there for the sort of like rehearsal night. And then slowly, Presto came out and they'd moved to Warner Brothers. This is on the Atlantic label. And Rupert Hind had took over the production, and he said, well, and I think it's literally something like, you're the best power trio it's Cream, so why aren't you sounding like it? And they got him slowly back into the guitars. And it showed really good album. And then I went for a period with CDs. So you got Roller Bones, that's another great one. Dreamline. And I started falling back into love with Rush again. This is an absolute corking album. If I could find this on vinyl, I would. I know I'd pay an absolute fortune for it. This is Counterparts. Excuse the glare on there. Animate. Stick It Out. Nobody's Hero. Absolute corking. Now, the only album I ain't got is Test for Echo. I thought I got it, but I hadn't, and I've just checked my listing, so I couldn't really show that. Then, after Test for Echo, Neil Peart, the double tragedy in his life where he lost his daughter and his partner, and he went on his ride. I did have a copy of Ghost Rider. I can't think where I put it. I think it might have even got ruined. I did have a incident where my flat got flooded a few 20 odd years ago, and some things got damaged beyond repair. In between time, this was brought out different stages live, possibly my favourite Rush live album. It's got a full version of 2112. This was recorded in the States, but there was 3 CDs. The third CD was a BBC recording of 1978 concert at Hammersmith Odeon. And then they did come back, and this is Vapor Trails. This is the original mix. I know it's been remixed since the band weren't too happy with it. Earth Shine's my favourite song on this. I've got a DVD of Rock in Rio somewhere, and then I'm trying to think what other album they brought. Feedback, and that's another album. So that's 2 albums. I ain't got Feedback. I ain't got Feedback either. Did Rush's 30th anniversary. I've got the DVD. This is the CD that came out of it. I've got it in the case there. Then they've got Snakes and Ladders there. I've got somewhere, I can't forget, it's under live gig of that. There are a couple of live albums that I haven't got on there, which I will get. Probably not on vinyl because they're hefty prices, 70 quid or something like that. I'm a fan, but I don't know if I could justify paying that much for a record. I'll just get them on CD. But finally, I brought this on New Year's Eve, which was the vinyl version of Clockwork Angels. It's the only concert album the band ever did. And absolutely corking. If you're going to quit on the studio work, do it. You probably one of your best work. This was my favourite album of the last decade. Absolutely wonderful. And there. And they obviously quit touring. Neil decided he'd had enough. His body weren't taking it anymore. It was his wrist and his shoulders. I think we forget sometimes that there is a physical aspect to playing musical instruments. And Alex is having trouble with in his fingers, tendons in his fingers, arthritis. It's wear and tear ultimately. I have it in my knees, and that's just through doing the things I'm supposed to be doing, like walking around, trying to be active. But hey ho. And then obviously Geddy and Alex. Geddy's been the most active. He's a big book of bass, going out. And he's been doing the interviews. In the meantime, what we didn't know until Friday, that Neil was ill, and as I said, when the news broke, how it broke, I was watching something on BBC Four. They always have music programmes, and it was on about a guy, Chris Packham, about his love of punk rock and what it meant to him. And I just dropped off, tired. I was up early in the morning, and I woke up and I went on the phone, and all of a sudden, all this about Neil Peart, and I'm like, wow. And it just kicked me, and it realised, if I didn't know it already, that's the end of Rush. There's no way. There was rumours floating around, and at Mike point I had to say no. There's no truth in these rumours, and Dave Grohl says, well, I'm not nowhere near good enough to help Rush out if they wanted to tour, and I hope this is the end. That they don't get tempted to get another drummer, because there can't be another drummer. Simple as that. And that's it. I mean, probably one of the biggest, it's not the biggest musical influence in my life, my favourite band. And I'm left with this, with the physical, the memories. And I did play some yesterday. I know some people wouldn't, but couldn't play it because it felt a bit raw. But that's what it's there for. It's our memories now to keep it going. I think the abiding memory is that I always came out watching their shows, and I saw them 4 times. I was fortunate to see them 4 times. How good a show it was. The sound. It was just the 3 blokes. They didn't have to have other musicians supplement them. No guitarists around the back. Nobody playing the keyboards around the back. And they created the sound. There was always humour in there. Sometimes you didn't get it. And they weren't afraid to push the boundaries back. Ultimately, it appealed to my sensibility at the time. And I'm glad that I was around. I'm alive when I am to appreciate the band while they were at their pomp, so to speak. So now Rush. All I'm going to say, and I know they ain't going to watch this, but big thank you for being such a positive part of my life. There you go. If you're new to the channel, and you like what you see, click on the subscribe button. I've had a bit of a spike on the thanks to the vinyl tag. And if you haven't done a vinyl tag video and you're watching this, do one. You might be a small channel, because it just gets people tend to watch these videos more than anything, just to get an idea of who you are. If they like it, they'll subscribe to you. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Love the interaction. Feel free to write a comment. I'll get back to you on that. And so enjoy your Sunday. It's a bit in the UK at the moment. So whatever you get to, enjoy it. And just remember, take care of yourselves. Keep spinning. More importantly, keep smiling. And thank you once again, Rush.